Oh, that'd be my head. Again, so Janet's on the endless masking for our no more gaps, but it's actually a flexible exterior gap filler that we're using, which is similar to a Sikaflex, I guess, and it will allow for a bit of flex, but around areas like the blending of the wood to the modules, Janet's doing a great job masking these up, and it certainly is making it look finished. And I've given her the most difficult cupboard here, the cupboard of hate, because I hate this cupboard. I've hated it ever since I did it. The steaming, the door doesn't match, I've got to sand it all down. There's a lot of work, there's probably a couple of days work just to get that right, but I will get that right eventually. But to get it to look nice and finished like this does is quite a lot of work. So do you want to explain what you're going to do?
So I sand the edge. So I've got one like this with a paddle pop stick and some sand, and I just go down the edge.
Yep.
And so it just roughs up the wood and the gel coat, and then I clean it with metho, and then I tape it.
We call methylated spirits metho here in Australia, and I think the methylates call it metho as well.
Oh, do they?
Oh, who knows? Metho, like, you should be able to drink metho, you can't. You used to drink it. I've never drunk it, but I believe some people.
God, you're talking some rubbish.
It's good stuff, the old metho, mixed with a bit of milk. Not anymore. You're not allowed to drink that stuff anymore. That'll kill you, that stuff. But yeah, we've got a lot going on in here, and what I want to do, hopefully next week, is get our Corian benchtop all glued and joined together to get rid of the seams, and then I can start to finish dressing it. So while Janet's working away feverishly there, I'm down here in the floor and the sole. It's taken away my soul, this job. Freaking mongrel job. What I've done is I've mitered some foam core, and I've mitered it and glued it underneath the floor here, or underneath the sole, to form a rebate so that the floor will sit into it. And I've got a lot of wood trim I intend to use here, similar to what we've done on the cupboards here. I intend to use a nice Tassie oak edge all the way around the exterior, and then the actual part that fits in will have a similar Tassie oak trim, so it'll resemble this. And then we'll butt the wooden flooring, or the floating floor that we're going to put in, up against the Tassie oak. So that's going to make it very essential that Janet chooses a flooring that actually matches the Tassie oak. I hadn't actually thought of that. I hope you can find a bit of flooring that matches.
I told you that the other day, that it might make it difficult.
What did you say?
I said to you the other day, it might make it difficult if you use the oak on the floor, trying to match the floor to it.
We'll find something that'll match it.
I did say that.
Trust me, we'll find it. And if it doesn't match, it's going to be a highlight. I'm good at persuasion. That's how you get a project like this across the line, guys.
That's how you get it started.
That's how you get it started, and then you just hope they hang in. You hanging in with me, honey?
I've got no choice, have I?
That's called commitment. There's a commitment here like you cannot believe, guys, and trust me.
Yes, we're going to watch this program. Mind you, I use guys as both men and women. So.
Yep, right, let's get into it, eh? I'll get down and do what I need to do here on the sole. So I'm down here, this is the fuel tank access hatch. It's got a rebate glued in. There's going to be a lot of finishing to do here, because this has to be strong enough to handle the weight of someone walking on it, but also it needs to be smooth so that we can make sure that it doesn't rattle. And obviously it needs to seal, because we don't want bilge smells coming up through the floor. So there's a lot of work to be done there, but those clamps can come off after lunch, and then I'll be able to start dressing and finishing the inside of it.
I'm being technically challenged, apparently. We are filming. Okay, Ross is down here working on the floors, grovelling on the floors if I'm honest, trying to fix where all the hatches are down to the tanks, etc. And he's not happy chappy, so I'm filming him.
You're actually filming this time, are you? I'm so uncomfortable. I've been down here on my knees. There's plenty of butt crack going on here, so Janet's not allowed to see that. But it's a bit of a challenge, because this has to go up underneath, and then I've got to glass it all together. But the first thing I can do is glue it in. Put it in like so. And I've got a lip. I'm going to have a lip of about 2 centimetres for the floor cutout, which I've still got, which is just over here. To sit on, and that's going to be quite a bit of work, making more frames, a little bit more for Janet to stain and prepare for me.
Why does this become about me all the time?
Because you're the boat builder. I'm just the enigma.
No.
I'm an enigma.
Oh.
So,
never mind, Rusty.
so these parts, I thought we'd wasted a lot of laminating that we'd done. These are actually the cutouts of the windows. So where I've cut these windows out, this is the cutouts, and I went up there and I've made them into some nice sort of mitered supports.
I just thought I'd come in and give Ross a little bit of help, you know, here and there.
What, because you haven't helped me build the boat much?
No, yeah, just a little bit here and there.
So Janet's got the job of masking up before we fill. We're using silicon and some no-more gaps. We've got some nice hardwood no-more gaps, and hopefully we don't get too much movement in the boat and it cracks. If it cracks, we're going to be replacing it, but I think the no-more gaps looks absolutely superb. I've done it already through most of the boat. And over here, I've just basically filled it here, so we're going to peel the tape off pretty quickly because you don't want it to dry. It's not real good if it dries, and you try to pull your masking tape off and take it with it. Janet went home the other night with a white streak down her head where she had her head in a flow-coated compartment in a ponytail and a badger stripe.
I don't know, I get up in the morning and get dressed really, on my own.
Well, you did a good job masking that. I'll pass that job. So this was done about a month and a half ago, and then I just finished this bit off, so this looks lovely. That's really good. Cool. Yeah, that looks really good. Okay. To the other side. Right, I've decided to just put an edge of Tasmanian oak on this bed here. I believe that the bedside table there and that cupboard's going to hold the mattress in fine. I don't want a raised edge because it's just going to be too hard to sit on. And I've also put in a shelf here, which is actually removable. It'll go underneath there, but removable so that I can get to the wiring beneath. So there's quite a lot of work going on here that I haven't been filming. Obviously fairly dry stuff to video, but a lot of this woodwork, that's actually solid Tasmanian oak, and it is going to be used as a step, so you can step on that to throw your leg over your partner in this bed here. You can see here, this is the bed, so obviously the pillows are going to be here. You're going to be sleeping lengthways. It's a little bit of a cutaway mattress, but you'll be able to put your foot on here, step on to get over the top. I've had to think about that because after our experience in the camper van recently this year, we discovered that it wasn't so easy to throw your leg over your partner. I'm saying that literally. Janet found an area that I hadn't finished, and there's quite a lot of those, so we're gradually finding them, and that is underneath the shelf. So about a week ago you marched this up, and you're finally getting around to getting your job done. Too busy off doing, I don't know, physio and all this other stuff. Yeah, no, great stuff, that's good. So this will finish this area, which is really nice. Yeah, nice white flow coat up underneath. And you're going to roll it as well, aren't you? Yeah, cool, that'd be nice. Beautiful. And I've got some timber trim all glued in there in the robe. And another area over here. And another area over here that we've been working on is down around the engine hatches. I've actually finished the edges of the bed, which has got some nice wooden trim on it, so that's all going to settle down nicely. And the nice thing about that is it means you can sit on the edge of the bed and not worry about breaking off a piece of timber that's going to stick up, which I was worried about. I've also been diligently silicon type no-more gaps and all around the edges of the woodwork, so filling in anywhere that's looking a little bit untidy. We're trying to sort of tidy all that up, and Janet's been masking that up both sides so I get a nice fine line, and then we're going to give it a little sand and then finish it with a little bit of clear once we redo the final stain on the entire wood surrounds of the boat. Janet doesn't really want a clear coat anymore, do you, darling? But it does make a massive difference to the finish, and we do get a really nice finish in between the wood and the white with the with that sort of silicon no-more gaps. Good stuff. We don't want any green or yellow surfaces into the boat. I'm done. Nice one. I'm filming. I'm filming. Don't get angry with me while we're on video. There's no point in getting angry with me when you're on video. It's just show the world the way it really is.
How much coding have I done now and you tell me how to do it?
I'm trying to teach you how to pour water. Doing a great job, darling. Well done. Let's take all the glory now.
I'm not taking the glory, I just like peeling things off. Like, I just
You have
like
to grab it from this end, I think.
It's alright, I just like doing it.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you peeled off my stuff, haven't you?
All the time. Almost every day. Very cathartic. What's great about this is a good flat surface to work on now. There's not going to be much fairing needed on here. A little bit of work. I can get the window foam around the... Jesus, that's not very straight, that cut. Nice one. There's so much of this we can watch, but there is a lot of it we can do.
I like to do it, there's not a lot left of it.
No, this is about the last peel line you're going to have to worry about.
And after the boat's in the water, I ain't coming up here again.
Until we make the foam core tender. Got a new project coming up soon. Well, I just made a massive effort to lift this out on my own. Everyone's gone today. Janet's out on the water today. And it was about 30 kilos, I think. But Jesus, it's awkward. But anyway, I got it out here. I've got to trim it down. I've got to trim this part down here. Still got a little bit of laminating to do around the ends here just to finish it off. But I do want to get this cut off. This is the laser line that I derived off the height of the rest of it. So pretty happy with how this has come up. It's actually looking pretty good, and I can do a bit of sanding while there's nobody around out here, get it all tidied up, and then it's ready for paint once I finish that last little bit of laminating this afternoon. So pretty happy to get it out here, and I think it's looking absolutely superb. All right, I spent the last day detailing the hardtop. That took a lot more work than I thought it would. I'm going to put it back into my wet room up there and start to get it nice and fair. It's looking really good. This underside here, I'm not actually going to fair. I'm going to roll flow coat onto it, and then I'll sand it, and then I'm going to texture the whole underside in line with my other hardtop up on the boat, so it'll all be consistent from underneath. I will, however, use flow coat on the underside here. On the larger hardtop up there, I use Raptor. I'm thinking I can get a very similar finish just with the textured roller and flow coat, and that way I don't have to spray it, so which would be really, really nice. And to be honest, the flow coat's actually probably a little bit of a better product for my liking, because firstly I can polish it and I can get it looking nice and clean, and essentially it'll be in line with the rest of the boat as well. So yeah, so I'll get this back up in there. It's a bit of a battle on my own lifting this thing. I had Peter, one of our patrons, arrive yesterday, and he was able to give me a hand to flip it over. It was really good. I hadn't met Pete before. He's from down in Victoria, and he was up in the area, and I caught him taking a photo of the boat at the gate, so I let him in, and we had a tour, and we had a chat, and met him and Anika, his partner, and he was able to help me flip this thing over outside, which was really nice, because I was at the point I don't think I could have lifted it myself. It's about 30 kilos, but it's very, very awkward, and if it didn't have the window in it, I certainly wouldn't be able to manage it on my own. But all right, here we go. I've just got some flow coat mixed up. I'm going to put about 8 cups on it just to get a base of white on it, and then I can come in and sand it down, and then look at if it needs fairing further. If I do go for a mild texture on the top here, I'm not going to be that concerned about whether it's perfect, because the texture actually hides the fairing. And this isn't a make do. This isn't me just sort of giving up on it, but the reality is I've got to move on to more important things up on the boat, like putting all the systems, getting those systems running and functioning in the next couple of months. And that has been a hard one, and Janet and I will sit down over the next few days and prioritise the next 2 to 3 months so we can get it on the water. That is bloody exciting. Got my gun ready, got my flow coat ready over here, and I'm just going to get in and give it a good spray. I've got my extractor on, and I've dropped down the blinds here so that spray gel coat's not going to get all over my shit, and we're going to go for it. So it's looking pretty good. It's pretty smooth. It is certainly not going to be fair after this first pass of spray flow coat. Right, 3-hour mammoth session yesterday has revealed a faired surface. I'm just tidying up around this window rim. It's a little bit rough. I couldn't get into it with the orbital. There's a couple of little spots of clumps of gel coat there I want to get rid of, a flow coat. And I'll get that all tidied up, and then I've just got to do the cowling on the front, and this will be done, and I'm ready to spray up hopefully the final layer of flow coat over the top of it to get it all nice and smooth. Alright, after 3.5 hours of wet sanding, 400, 600, 800, 1000 and 1200 grit, it's beautiful. It's not perfect, but it's bloody good enough, given that it's going to be a solar panel. It's pretty close to perfect, but it's certainly not there. I've now masked it up, and the masking is there so I can get my textured roller with flow coat and add a perimeter of texture all the way around for all the hard wearing areas. The edges are going to get knocked with ropes, lines, beer bottles, beer cans and things like that, wine bottles, who knows, fishing rods, whatever may hit it. And the section around the window here, I'll do it just as a feature, and then the whole underside is going to be textured. So there's a theme I'm getting with the whole boat here to get the whole thing consistent all the way through, and it means that I can repair parts very, very simply just with a simple roller and a brush. So I'll save you the 4 hours of hand sanding that stinker. I wet sanded it. It's not buffed because I don't want to buff it until I put on the textured edge. So I've just basically masked it up. I'm ready to go. I'm going to basically give it a quick sand, rough this surface up, because I didn't actually polish the surface, but it is raw flow coat, so I do want to remove the wax off it before I put any more flow coat on. So this edge here isn't detailed, and it doesn't need to be because it's going to have a texture all the way around. Probably a couple of cups of gel coat or flow coat to finish this job. Come back in tomorrow, I can flip it over and do the whole underside with the texture, and this job will be put to bed. Today has been probably the windiest day we've experienced for years. It seriously, all of the signs, all the parking signs, everything has just been ripped off and torn down the street. The tent is holding up because it's in a corner and the northwesterly wind sort of blowing across its quarter, so pretty happy about that. Josh just came up with my big YouTube sign and it was down the road, so luckily it's canvas, but the big metal signs on the fence from Neil next door were all the way down the road under the parked cars and everything. Very lucky. Shocking day. I mean, it got 80 knots, was the biggest gust we've had today. It's been an absolute bastard of a day, and you can hear it in the background. It's blowing behind. I've been in here all day just hiding from it. Up on the boat's almost unbearable. There's a tent going, and I certainly would not like to be out on that boat out in the sea in those winds. Janet's at Marine Rescue's sitting in the radio room, and I imagine she's had a very quiet day. There'd be no fishermen out there today, because if you did, you'd be suicidal. Alright, yesterday I textured the edge. We're going to give it a buff, basically try to get a polish done, and that'll call that job pretty much complete. I've just got to fit some hatches and some ropes or some messenger lines through the conduit, so I'll be able to enable the wiring of any of the items that I decide to put in this hardtop: compass, instruments and lighting. So yeah, looking pretty good. I'll get it buffed up. I actually spent about 4 hours yesterday hand wet sanding this, and I've just wet sanded the actual textured edge as well, because we don't want that to harbour any dirt. I do want to keep that polished as well. If I keep it polished, it'll stay clean and it'll always be easy to rejuvenate. I'll actually fit the window when it's up on the actual boat itself, but I'll cut the panel while it's down here, and it's easy to work out a template size. And yeah, that's going to call this job pretty much done, which is really nice. Right, it's all polished up and the boss is here, ready to help me turn it over. It's getting heavier.
Yeah, it is.
I'm adding weight with the flow coat. But
3 people will be right.
yeah, it's looking pretty good. We've polished it up. It's not perfect, but I'm pretty happy with it. It's going to have a big solar panel on here, and there's a couple of little spots, a little bit of fairing. Could have made a mould pretty easily for it, to be honest, when I think about it, but it would have taken another couple of days to do that, and I just wanted to expedite it. But anyway, it looks good enough. It is beautiful, but it's just not to my stand. Well, it is to my standard. It's just not to Janet's standard, apparently. I've got all of my hatches in. I now need to just complete the lighting looms and make sure that I've got access to that. So that means I've got to just use a small hole saw so I can get the chase wires or my messenger lines in, and then I can progress to final install, and that's going to be really exciting. I'm going to need the boys to give me a hand to lift this on. There's no way Janet and I can get this up on our own. I mean, I could probably get it up there with another bloke, but certainly Janet certainly doesn't have the strength to get this up. She's good, but she's not that good. Anyway, I'm going to get this few holes drilled so that I can get some messenger lines through, and then we can progress to getting the other upright completed. I'm going to have to do a little bit of TIG welding to get that part done, and then I can get it installed hopefully mid next week, and then I'm going to take a week off and go and see my daughter in Tasmania, because I haven't seen her for 5 months, and looking very excited about going to see her. I've only put wiring down the starboard side of the roof. There's no wiring in this conduit here. I hope I remembered that right. Yeah, there's definitely wiring in this side. I don't need anything on the outboard side of the hard top. Certainly it runs sort of like that all the way around and then comes up through that upright back there. So I'll just get the hole saw, burrow this out. I've got access to all the conduits, and then we're set. Now I've got to run some messenger lines through it. Very important that I get some messenger lines run through here so that I can install this hardtop up on the boat. Obviously we don't want to leave it sitting in here too long because it's taking up too much space, and we need to get on to other things. A lot of woodwork, a lot of roof linings and stuff to be done. Now messenger lines, I'm actually just feeding these through nice and simple. I don't even need a draw wire to pull through. Honestly, this stuff's rigid enough that it's going to work as a perfect messenger line. And I'll just pull this one through and I'll feed the other one all the way through, at least down to there, and then I'll run another one up into the other light there, which is actually at the stern of the boat as well. So I've got plenty of options here now that I've actually laid these conduits in laminate, and I'm pretty excited about this. I've just spent a couple of hours up on the boat putting in the upright up through the stainless tube or the support that comes out over in this corner over here. You got to remember the whole thing's upside down, so this needs to sit up that way, and that is where all the conduit line is going to come from the boat itself. And I'll be absolutely stoked to get all the electrical wiring all coming through the boat without any exposed wires to weather and obviously rain and wind and the like. I just like to have everything enclosed in the actual boat, and also like the facility that I can add to this later on. I can certainly add to put in some instruments or anything over on this corner here, which is actually on the inboard side. So there's the potential to run a wind meter or even you know, a radio up in here if I wanted to. So lots of options, or even another MFD if I chose